Okay, we're back. Hopefully you practiced. Do you think they practiced that?
I don't know. Let me look at their screens. I don't know.
I think they practiced. I think we can go on to the second part.
Whatever you say.
Okay, another file's out there. It's some of the survey results from the survey at the beginning of class. Let me show you the file. Again, this is randomized. These are not actually the responses for these people, and these timestamps are even randomized. But the email addresses are accurate. So what I want to do with this, kind of the opposite I did last time, I want to pull last names out of this to match the roster. The numbers are going to be a problem, so we'll look at that. But first, to get last names out of this, well, I might want to keep the email addresses for one thing. So I'm going to actually copy those over here. Then I'm going to use my text to columns trick again. Where'd my keyboard go? Use the ampersand. So I just got rid of the at carthage.edu. But I want to get last names, and these are all different lengths. So I need to get most of this. I need to get everything from the right except for the last letter. Now before I hit enter, look at what it's doing. It says take whatever the length of this is, take one less than the length, and take everything then to the right of that. So I'm just cutting off that first initial. And I get a last name. Now we have the issue of upper lower case. So again, I could nest functions if I want to. So I put the proper function around this function, and I get everybody's last name. Yay! Now I have a small problem. In that I've got numbers. You're all aware of this, I believe, that with Carthage's email addresses, I just pasted the values. Get rid of this. With Carthage's email addresses, that if you have the same first initial and last name of somebody else, they just tack numbers. I've seen double digits now. I won't say who, but I've seen an email address that has an 11 on the end of it. And this roster, obviously, no more than one. So this isn't that big of a deal. I've only got 40 numbers here. I could go through and just manually wipe out every place I see a number. But what if I had 400 or 4,000? I probably wouldn't want to do that. Well, there's some ways around it. I'll show you some functions in general. When we haven't put, there's an isNumber function. And it asks if a value in a cell is a number. Yep, that is. That's not. So it just asks, is this a number? Yeah. Then it says, is this a number? No, it's not. It's false. I've talked when I teach statistics about numbers versus numerals. I want you to see something down here with the isNumber function so you understand how it works. Let's take the right single character off of this and say, is that a number? Sure, it looks like a number, and it is not. That's because this was a text field. It just pulled that numeral out as a text, not as a number, and therefore is number is false.
Wow. Looks like a number to me.
We can also convert, though, numerals into numbers. There's a value function. So I'm going to go over here and take that text field, convert it to value, and then again ask, is that a number? And now it is. If you think about stacking all these things together, it gives you an idea of what you might be able to do to automate pulling numerals off these names. We have to write a line that says, look at that last character, try to convert it to value, and if that value is a number, then take all of this except for that character. If that value is not a number, just leave this alone. That was a lot. So go back here. And look what I did. I pulled the rightmost character out, checked that it was a number. It wasn't. It was a text. But I was able to convert it to a number. So I'll try to do it slow, see if you can make sense out of it. It's an if statement. If so look at my condition. If the right first character, when converted to value, actually comes out a number, if that's true, then, I'm writing words right now, then I want to get rid of that last character. Otherwise, leave this alone. So how do I do that? How do I get rid of that last character? Well, I take the left I take the left, all of it, one less than all of it from the left. Otherwise, I don't do anything to it. Let's see what happens. Oh. There. I had one, I was short a parenthesis. So that worked for that one. You didn't do anything to it. What happens down here? It worked there. So it's long and it's ugly. But it works. So you look at the first character on the right, try to convert it to a number. If that succeeds, then you wipe out that first character on the right. Otherwise, you do nothing. And I can do that for every name on here. So I have successfully, out of the email field, pulled out all your last names. Now you can say, why does that matter? I have all your last names in other files, and that is very true. Copy the values over there, so I have just values instead of functions. So why would I care? Well, sometimes I take data from two different files, and I want to combine them. And I want to have a matching field to match records in one file with records in another. We'll do that next, but I wanted to show you this way of getting rid of, for lack of a better term, getting rid of the extraneous stuff and pulling your last name out. Now there's another way to do it. That was an ugly kind of mess. A few of you have heard of VBA and worked with VBA. It is a horrible computer language, but it's what we've got. It's built into Excel. So if you're comfortable, and most of you won't be, but some of you might be, if you're comfortable writing your own functions, you can user-define functions. Over here on this file, there's a website. I did not write this function myself. I wiped it out, took it from them, so I'm citing the source. You can click there and read about it, and they tell you how to use it. And if you've never done code, don't worry about trying to make sense out of this. But what this does, this is a function that will take a text field and remove any numerals anywhere in it. The problem is it doesn't exist. It's called the remove numbers. So if I go to, we'll just go back to, and we'll leave them. We'll leave the at Carthage stuff in there, or any of these. So if I try to use a remove numbers function on any of these fields, it's like it doesn't know what it is. I haven't created it yet. So that's what a user-defined function is. You have to open up Visual Basic. You have to create a module, and then you have to take this function text, which I conveniently put in a text box, and put it in. Now this function exists only in this file. It doesn't exist in any other Excel file. So if I start typing in, you notice it actually recognizes it now. It didn't recognize it before. It's in this file. It took that timestamp, which has a lot of numerals in it, and took them all out. If I use the remove numbers function down here, let me copy this over here. Because it's just one and I want to do it fast, I'll manually get rid of the @carthage.edu. Remove numbers. And I get JMills with no numeral in it. It's a remarkably cool function, and if you're comfortable creating your own functions in an Excel file, you'll find things like this pop up now and then, where it really is useful. What I did before with all the nested and the if statement, it obviously worked. That's how I got this. But I could have created this remove numbers function and maybe done a little bit quicker. Back to the question of why do I want to create last names when I have last names in other files, we'll hit that in the next video and talk about trying to match things from two different places. But that's enough in this video for now. You might want to go practice this, just like you were supposed to go practice the last one.
Practice time. Bye for now.